Hey, good morning. Good morning, Al. Can you hear me? Hey, man, there you are.
Hey, yeah, I didn't
Hey, man,
realize that
good morning.
I was busy this morning when I looked at myself in the camera. I had something on my face. I looked like Hitler. I had to go wipe my
That's
face
awesome.
off.
That's awesome, man. How how was how's your morning going so far?
Pretty good. Just
Good,
been
man.
packing my stuff for my trip, so I'm not in a hurry at the
There you go.
last minute.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. That's gonna be nice, man. Super it's gonna be man, it's gonna be so freaking cold, man, but that's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, no doubt. I love snowboarding. Go every
Yeah,
year. Last year I was fortunate. I snowboarded in like South Dakota,
yeah.
Washington, Nevada, California, and Colorado. So
That's badass,
had
man.
a heck of a year
Your
last year.
shoulder, your, your shoulder's feeling better? Is it feeling like somewhat decent?
It is. I'll send you a
Yeah.
picture of the X-ray. My bone sticks up where I can. I'll never see how this shoulder's higher.
Oh, I see. I see.
I'll
Yeah.
never, unless I had. I don't even know. I don't think he
Yeah.
got it down. He had to add a plate in here, and he
Yeah.
didn't get it down far enough. But
Yeah. Well, shit,
I'm
man. Well, that's
happy
good,
with it.
dude. Yeah. Yeah. It's progress.
Yeah.
Um, cool, man. So I'm heading to the office, but we can get some stuff done here. So, um, yes. So how do you feel about yesterday's call when we called Robert?
Yeah, it was good. I was glad he said 175 because I was figuring at 90,000 rehab that I could probably make money at it 145, 150. But if he's got the roof on there and plumbing, you know, I did look at the electrical. It definitely needs an upgrade on that. So uh,
Okay.
it
Do
just
you
didn't.
know? Do you know what the ARV is?
No, I looked a little bit. I thought it was around 280. It's like a
Okay.
2,000 square foot house, 3 bedroom, two
Okay.
bath. It's got a
Okay.
big yard, nice neighborhood, and that shed, I believe that shed's like almost 2,000 square foot itself. It's got an upper loft.
Well, yeah, and that I think that can add value to the property, like you were saying yesterday. So um dude, listen, man, this is a deal. And so um we need to pin down the ARV. Um, so that I don't know if you know someone that can kind of help you with that. I mean, I could try to look later, but you know, someone that understands that market and that can give you a good idea of kind of what that ARV is. I think you said you had a realtor friend, right? That might be able to help with those things, or
Yes, yes. Now I do.
okay,
One that sold that
okay.
last
So
house.
yeah, so let's have them look at the ARV. Um, and listen, man, this could be a really good opportunity for you. I mean, do you want to flip it? Do you want to flip it like yourself?
I don't know. Maybe. I mean, if I got
Okay.
a 60% deal, I might want to, you know?
Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So, So let's assume the ARV is 280. And what do you think the rehab is? I'm gonna pull up my calculator.
Well, I figured it at like 80 to 100,000, but uh, with new plumbing and new roof, that cuts down 20, 20 or 25,000 right there.
Okay.
He said he got the
So let's
drain work
call it
done too. That's what cost me a lot of extra money on this last house I did.
okay. Okay. It's in the square footage is you said it's 2,000 square foot?
About that, I don't have it pulled up right now, but
Okay,
can
that's fine.
I sent you that
Let's
link
see.
too? See. Yeah, right here.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, 1840.
Okay. All right, let's see. Okay. 280. So, okay. If it is a 280 ARV and a 60 I'm just gonna throw a 65K rehab in there. Um the
Yeah.
the buyer, whoever the actual end buyer is, needs to be getting it at like 140 to 145. Okay. So if you were going to wholesale this, then you got to be lower, right? You got to be 130, 130 to be able to sell this off to an end buyer. Now, there's some other options. Um, I mean, we can go down a rabbit hole here, but I mean, there's stuff that we can do where we can probably, if we can get him to agree on a number, we can list it on the MLS. That's a whole nother thing. But doing that, it's going to allow you to attract a buyer that's going to pay more. And so I don't want to get into the weeds on all that, but it's an option. So, but what I'm thinking is for a straight, just a straight deal. Um, if you were going to buy it as a flip, then I think you'd be safe at, if the ARV is 280. I don't know what the ARV is, but if it is 280, I think you'd be safe at that 140, 145 range, exactly what you said. And if you're not going to flip it and you want to wholesale it, then we really need to be at 130. Okay, because we want to sell this off to an investor and we want to be able to move it quickly without not having issues selling the property. So now that ARV, if it comes back higher, and maybe that shed brings value. I have no idea, but if it comes back higher, then that can change the numbers a little bit. But dude, this is definitely a deal, man. It's a really good lead. It's a really good fucking lead, dude. Like this is a bona fide deal right here, So this is awesome, man. Is this the guy that you went and saw him in person?
Yes. Knocked on his door over in Friendswood.
Yeah, this is a deal, Al. It's a deal, man. Like I can just tell, he's an older gentleman. Um, he probably really appreciated you going to the house, seeing him in person. Like he's not gonna, he and listen, you know, so yesterday's call, it's the way these deals work, and I tell my team this, I've told a lot of people this, but it's like these deals don't really have a timeline on them. Like you create the timeline, and what I mean by that is, if it's a deal, then it's going to be a deal today, or it's going to be a deal in 12 months from now. Like it's the person who is talking to the seller is the one's going to dictate that. I've done deals to where uh they're like, man, Blake, I've talked to 50 other people, but I don't know. I just put the deal together, right? I mean, and so like this deal, this guy, he likes you. I can tell he wants to do business with you. He wants to do a deal with you. Because I even kind of I even gave a scenario. We weren't even going to show up. I was like, hey, listen, if the price doesn't work, um, you know, we're just, we don't want to waste your time. And but he kept us in the loop, like, well, hold on. And he kept us in the loop. And so like that's him. Really, he wants to do the deal with you. Okay. I mean, because he wouldn't ask you to meet, he wouldn't reach back out to, he wouldn't stay connected with you, he wouldn't um kind of show that type of interest if he really didn't care who he does business with. And I'm sure he's talked to other people, but no one else has showed up at his house. And so that's your competitive advantage right now on it. And so I think it's important that, like, when you have these leads like this, that we we have those conversations where we try to move the deal to the closing table as fast as possible. And that was my objective yesterday, was to kind of get the ball rolling, like, put a little bit of urgency in him, and really just kind of get the deal going. And it sounds like to me he's ready to do something. Um, I mean, he's starting off at 175, but listen, he even said, "Hey, that's where I'm starting off. It may go down." Right. So uh, this is a really, really good opportunity. Really good opportunity. So um, I want to get into some of the seller communication stuff. So I don't want to take too much time on this, but this is a freaking deal, man. So um, I don't want to procrastinate a whole lot on this, because you can lose deals just as fast as you can get them. So if you can, get with your agent friend and get a really good ARV today. Like, let's really understand what the property is worth. Because here's the thing, man. If she comes back and that ARV is freaking like 300,000, I just don't want to play a lot of games and lose a deal. Like, I don't. It's just my philosophy is like, seize the moment, and I just don't. I've lost too many deals, and I've seen deals get lost because if we go at the seller speed, you're going to lose deals. And I had a deal. This was in 2019, and I did a deal with a seller, and like, we actually closed the deal. I wholesaled it, and she was very happy. And it was a deal in Sagemont. And after the deal was closed, she was like, "Hey, Blake, she was going through a divorce. She's like, me and my ex-husband, we have this other property." She was like, "Would you be interested?" I was like, "Yeah, absolutely." So I go and I meet her, and I look at the property, and I had such good rapport with her, and I already did that one transaction. And anyway, so that morning we agreed on price. I was like, "Hey, I think we can do it at 100,000. Are you good with that?" She's like, "Yeah, I'm good with it." She was like, "Just, whenever you get back, just send me the contract and I'll sign it." Okay, great, no problem. And so, anyways, I leave that morning. It was like 10 a.m. And, you know, I just assumed that it was a done thing. And I didn't get back to her till like 4 o'clock that day. And she signed with somebody else.
Yeah.
And but you gotta understand, is she sellers don't look at deals like we do. So when I called her, she thought, she was like, "Oh no, Blake, I didn't hear back from you, and I didn't want to bother you." So like, they don't look at it like us. Like, they're looking at it from a different perspective. She was looking at it like, I don't want to bother him. Maybe he's busy. So, and I'm like, but once again, it's my job to press the deal, not the sellers. And so sellers are going to be sellers, and they're going to, we can't go on their speed, because there's going to be some guy or gal that's going to get in contact with them that's going to lock them up. You know what I mean? So,
Right.
so with this guy, he has that personality out. He wants to do the deal with you, but he's not looking at this like from a financial perspective. Okay. I can just tell he's looking at this emotionally. And so if some person gets in front of him and locks him down, he's going to do the deal. and
I see.
he's not yeah, he's not looking at it, he's not looking at it from the lens of, you know, trying to make some money. It sounds like the guy doesn't really need the money, to be honest with you. He's looking at it from more of an emotional place, and so, and he's not, you know, he's just not that. A lot, some sellers don't. They're, like I'm saying, they look at the deal differently than we do, and I've had to learn these lessons, and it's very frustrating because you're like, man, I thought the seller wanted to do a deal with me, and they do, but they're not real estate they're not looking at it sometimes from the financial component. Like they don't even care sometimes. Like they're just like, it's emotional. I have this guy, I like him, he wants to buy it. But then like if you're not there to do it and some other Joe Schmo comes along, it's like path of least resistance. And they just kind of like, so with this guy, what we need to do is once we get that ARV, we need to really like understand where we are on the deal. And listen, if that ARV comes back higher and and we can lock it up close to that 175, then I think we should call him. I think we should call him, and I think we should say, hey, listen, man. Um, I mean, we say it in the way that we need to say it, but and essentially we say, hey, listen, we we know the area really well. We like you. We like the property. We want to get you, close to that 175, and we think we can do this. We can, and I think we should lock it up, man. I don't think we should delay on it. But if the ARV comes back a little bit lower, um, then we need to set something up concrete as far as an appointment for you, because we don't need this open ended while you're gone. Um, because if someone gets a hold of this guy, I'm telling you, like he's going to sign the contract. So we gotta do that. So we gotta know the ARV, and and depending upon the ARV, we'll either lock up the deal like today, or we're gonna set a concrete, a very specific day, a very specific time, with the next, like with a specific action plan, so he knows like, hey, this is what we're doing, and then that way we can secure the deal. Does that make sense, though, Al?
That makes sense. Understand?
All right, let's do it. All right, let's go over seller communication, man. Like what do you want to go over as far as like talking to sellers, and like is there anything specific that you need help with?
Well, the one guy was asking me a bunch of questions about if I'm an agent, and it's been a little while. I wrote it all down, but I don't have it in front of me. Um,
Yeah.
that uh, I just didn't really know what to say, so I was kind of just being honest with him. I let him know that I was gonna buy get the house under contract to find a buyer for him, and he didn't want to.
Okay.
He's like, then he said he wouldn't make any money that way, but I didn't think fast enough. I should have said that you'll make money when this house sells off the sale of the house. That that I didn't work for
Right.
free. That I would make money. So he knew that
Right.
I would
Okay.
make money, but he thought that he wouldn't make money. So
Yeah.
he said he
So
didn't want
okay.
to do that with me, was exactly what he said.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, let's go over first like the philosophy of all this. I think it's important to really have a real clear um grasp of kind of what we're doing here, and also the value that you're bringing to the marketplace. I think this is a really big problem that a lot of new maybe wholesaling and investors kind of get into. And so look, when you go when you go to Walmart and you buy groceries, and you buy a bag of chips, and you're checking out at the register, the person at the register doesn't say, hey, Al, let me tell you how we did this. we got this bag of chips for $1.99. And you know what? We sold it to you for $5. And Walmart made $3.91 on this bag. And and also I make $15 an hour. And then when I make 15, like they don't go into all that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, here's your chips, here's how much, pay me, here's your chips, right? Like that's the exchange. So in every business, this is what business is, right? Like, you know, if you go buy a pair of shoes at Dillard's, you don't buy the shoes and as you're buying them, the guy says, "Hey Al, this is how we did this, man. I bought these shoes in China for $9.10, and I'm selling it to you for $59, and I'm making $41." Like they don't go into all that, right? Like that's just weird. Okay. But for some reason, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is, but for some reason in our industry, we feel the need to explain and over explain everything to sellers. I don't know why. I have no idea. I think it's because it's a new industry and we're still trying to all kind of figure out how the hell this works. But it's silly to me, right?
One
And
thing that
so
one
go
thing
ahead.
that stumped me was he asked me for proof of funds. That kind of threw me.
Okay, listen. So I'm gonna kill all this right here. But what? Listen. The reason why these things are difficult is because we got to get you context. So I'm telling you, Al, this is a mental block for a lot of people in this business. Okay. I don't understand what it is. I think it's because it's real estate, it's an asset, it's a big purchase price. I think people feel uncomfortable. We don't understand what value we're bringing. And then so sellers ask a bunch of goofy questions, and we feel this need to over explain. And by the way, I've done it, dude. I mean, I remember I have lost so many deals in the beginning because I literally just vomited at the mouth and I over explained everything. And it honestly, I look back on it, I'm like, oh my God, that was bad. But I did that because I didn't really understand what the hell I was doing. And number two, I'll be honest with you, and you may relate. I didn't really understand how I was bringing value. Like I just really didn't get it. I'm like, I don't really know what I'm doing here. I, I feel like I'm trying to trick the seller. I don't really know. I think, and so it's that when you have that stuff in your head, it's it's not good, and it's not. It's gonna. And what happens is then when the seller asks a question that doesn't even really mean anything, we we kind of go sideways, right? And so listen, we talk to hundreds of sellers a week at Freedom Hawk, and we don't get a lot of these questions. A lot of it's because of the way we present things. And the other reason is when you have a really clear grasp of what you're doing, the value that you're bringing, how you're bringing value to the marketplace, the sellers kind of unconsciously pick up on this, and they don't, hassle you a lot because there's more, they have a higher level of certainty and confidence. Typically, when a seller has low confidence, they're going to ask you these weird questions. Okay. And it still doesn't mean anything. It means nothing at all, by the way. It doesn't, like I'm telling you, I tell my team, I tell everybody, like, guys, don't make a mountain out of a molehill. This doesn't mean, it's just, they're just talking. Okay. And so the first thing is, I was like, you got to really understand the value that you're bringing to the marketplace. And you gotta really own that. And then if you do, that will start translating over to your communication with the seller. But if you're looking at it from a perspective of sort of like, you know, I mean, let's just be honest, like we're trying to trick a seller into a deal, then it's just never going to be successful or fruitful. And then the seller's going to pick up on that. But here's the value. The value is you are providing this seller with an opportunity to make money on their property and get their property closed and cash in their hand. Typically it's a distressed property. And you're also allowing them to not have to do repairs, do showings. You're allowing them a hands-off experience. Okay. So the value you're bringing to the seller is easy transaction, hands-off experience, and you're giving them the opportunity to monetize a property that typically they could not sell on the market for a traditional price. Okay, so that's very valuable. Now, it don't stop there. You're also providing value for investors. Okay, so you're providing an asset opportunity to an investor. So you're providing that investor the ability to literally take his money and add 20% to it. Extremely valuable, extremely valuable. Okay. It don't stop there. You're also adding value to the title company. The title company is only in business when they're doing transactions. So now you're bringing economic value to that title company by providing a new transaction with a buyer and a seller and an investor. It don't stop there. You're also providing value for the end family who's going to buy this property. So there's another buyer after the investor. That person would never get the house until you do this deal with the seller. So now once the investor buys the property, fixes it up, that's going to provide a family to be able to move into the house. So it has this ripple effect in the marketplace. And it all starts with you. It all starts with you and a seller. And you create that economic opportunity. We create that economic opportunity. This is not about duping, tricking people. This is about creating economic opportunities. And I think where people get really screwed up in this industry is they just don't understand that. Like, I don't know what it is. Like, it baffles me. But we think that I don't know what we think, but having a real clear understanding of what you're doing for the economy and the marketplace, and yes, you do make money doing that, but we don't have to explain our business models to sellers. Like, that's not our responsibility. Our responsibility to the seller is price and terms, price and terms, price and terms. That's it. You don't have to explain how you're going to make money, if you're going to make money, how much money you're going to make, why you're doing what you're doing. You don't have to explain any of that. That's none of their business. And in any other business out there in the world, it's the same way. Like, I'm about to walk into this gas station and get a water. When I buy the water, they're not going to break down their business model to me. Like, they're just going to say, here's what it is, $3, pay the deal. So, but I'm comfortable with that because I have so much, experience that this is what it is. But with our sellers, they don't really know. And then for usually for other people that are wholesaling, they're not crystal clear on the value that we're bringing to the marketplace. There's a reason why it's very lucrative, because it's a lot of value. And if you don't do this deal with Robert, or if someone doesn't do this deal with Robert, we have a stagnant asset just rotting away. That's not doing anything for anybody, right? It's not making him money. It's not making an investor money. It's not putting money in your pocket. And it's also a property that is not going to be able to be used for a family to live in for 20 years, right? And so it's actually a disservice to the marketplace to have a property just sitting there rotting away. So when you do this deal with Robert and you lock it up and you put it under contract, there's so much economic value that just gets rippled across the economy. And so that is what we do. That's what we do. And I
We
wanted to
actually helped
get
the
really,
city also by filling that, putting the family in the
yes,
home.
yes, this is, so what I'm saying is like, it's so important that you have an understanding of that context. If you don't, and most people don't, Al, most people think they're in the business of tricking sellers. That is insanity. Insanity. Or they think they're just trying to flip a contract. Like, bad perspective. We are in the economic opportunity business. Like, that's what we do. We provide economic opportunity, and we are the catalyst to do that. Now, the strategy is real estate wholesaling. That's the strategy. But what we actually do is we provide economic opportunity in the marketplace for so many different people. And so it's so important that you really understand that, because when you do, Al, you start having this no apology type of communication with sellers, because you're like, I do a lot of good here. Like, when I talk to sellers, they're lucky they're talking to me, because I'm providing economic opportunity. Like, I'm not here to trick someone. I'm not here to dupe anybody, but I'm also not going to over explain my business. I'm not going to do all that. Like, I'm a professional. I'm here to help you. I'm here to do the deal, but I'm not going to sit here and break down every nuance of my business. Like, that's not my responsibility to the seller. That's my responsibility to my business partner, but not my seller. And so that's the first thing. Like, does that kind of give you like some bigger picture context of kind of like, the value that's being brought?
That does, because in the construction I was in, I didn't explain that we're gonna take them down and paint them and then put them on
Right.
sawhorses and put them back up, and I'm gonna have three guys doing it.
Yeah.
And I messed
No.
up one time. I was talking to the homeowner about my crappy workers, and he got rid of them and got someone else to do that portion of the job. So I learned how to talk
Yeah.
about my business in that
Yeah.
aspect. And it's the same here, or very similar.
It's the same here. It's the same here, man. Like, you always gotta, you always want to frame what you're doing in the best light, and you don't have to explain things. Now, listen, if they're asking for proof of funds, it's because they don't trust that you can close. Okay. And so, because, man, I literally I gotta run here in like 2 minutes. Um, but let's talk about, so first thing is you have that in your head now of kind of like, okay, this is what we do. The second thing is, anything a seller, like, let's say a seller says, hey, do you have proof of funds? First off, you can get proof of funds through a hard money person. So you can do that. I can help you with that. I can help you. That's not a big deal. That's an easy thing to get. But what you need to say to the seller is, hey, Mr. Seller, it sounds like to me that you may not have confidence that I can get this done. I mean, otherwise you wouldn't be asking me for proof of funds. Now, I understand that if you want proof of funds, I don't mind. I don't mind showing that to you. But I'm here to make it happen. I can close 100%. But it sounds like to me that you don't have confidence in me closing. What you want to do is you want to pin it back on them. So sellers ask questions when their confidence is low. As a seller's confidence raises, you get less questions. So you can always know this. You can always take a temperature of the seller. If they're hitting you with a lot of questions, confidence is low. Okay. It doesn't necessarily mean it's you. It's not really you per se. It's just they just don't have a lot of confidence in getting the deal done. As their questions become less and less, the confidence is raising. Okay. And so what you want to do is you want to always present the opportunity with the seller to where, um they feel as certain and as confident as possible in the deal. And you do that by, number one, having that understanding of the value that we bring. Number two, keeping things really simple. Number three is when they do ask you what a question, don't over explain, because when you over explain, you lower their confidence, right? So when you keep it stupid simple, it's just stupid simple. Hey Al, I need proof of funds. Hey, Mr. Seller, no problem. I don't mind sending you some proof of funds. By the way, it feels like to me that you're asking for proof of funds because you don't feel like I can get the deal done. Well, no, that's not what I'm saying. Okay, no problem. So I'm going to send it to you, but let's move on to the next one. Okay. So then you just move on. But if you over explain, well, okay, so you need proof of funds. Okay, okay, let me, you try to over explain and you get into this big spiel. Their confidence is going to just continue to drop, 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 drop. Okay. What other kind of seller objections or seller issues that have you heard so far that you need help with?
That's pretty much the only one that really stumped me that
One.
hard. I did have one seller that when I asked him if he was interested in selling, he said no. And then when I was hanging up, it sounded like he was trying to talk to me, but I'd already hung up. So another one, when he said no, I waited on the phone and he said
Uh-huh.
yes. And he was one that's in Alvin that has those 6 lots. He won't answer me though.
Nice.
But just because I paused instead of saying, okay, thank you, I was looking for a yes, not a no. But so
Okay.
another one I
All right.
actually
So
called him twice and it worked and got a yes.
okay. Um okay. So the guy in Alvin, he said yes, and then you can't get a hold of him now.
Right. He won't answer. He said
Okay.
yes, and we talked for 45 minutes. But
Okay. Okay.
talked all
So
about
listen, you got to create urgency.
that was
You got
one
to
thing with him. He
create.
wasn't in a hurry. He was comfortable there.
Yeah, yeah, no, I know, I understand that, but what I'm saying is it's not about them. Okay, what I'm saying is if you're going to do a deal, you got to create some. Okay, if he's not going to do a deal, great. Let's know that right now. Let's know it today. Let's not know it next month because it's a waste of time. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to send him a text. Hey, Mr. Seller, this is Al. We spoke for 45 minutes about your six lots. You said that you had interest in selling. I have the last amount of capital for the Alvin market, and I want to allocate those funds to these lots. Are you ready to make a deal? Question mark. If not, if not, no problem. I'm going to move those funds to a project in League City. Okay, so what you're doing is you're creating urgency. You're creating scarcity. Okay. It's not about the seller. We're the pro here. We dictate all this. Okay. Now, if he's not, if he's not interested in doing a deal, then he ain't interested in doing a deal. It is what it is. There ain't nothing you can do about it, man. You can beg the guy forever. But if he is interested in doing a deal, then that frame that you send him, now he's like, okay, wait a minute, I do want to sell this, and it's going to create some sort of response, right? So he'll respond to you. Now, if he's not interested at all, then he's not interested. Then you'll know. Then you'll just put him on a follow-up schedule. You'll just put him on a follow-up schedule, right? So we don't ever, and I say this respectfully, but we don't ever listen to what the sellers. I mean, we people say things. They say things all the time. I'm not in a hurry. Great, awesome. You're not in a hurry. Okay. But we just have to create the opportunity. We have to create the deal. So always use that in a situation where someone tells you yes, but then they just start ghosting you. Okay. You want to use that frame where you can send them a text. What all you're doing is you're trying to figure out if there really is some interest there. If they are interested in selling, they're going to respond to that text. If they're not, then they're not. Does that make sense?
Right. That makes
Okay.
sense.
Yeah, because once again, we're the creator of the deal. Like we're the ones that make it happen. And so if the guy does have interest, then what he'll do is he'll respond and he'll probably say something like, yeah, hey Al, let's talk at 4, or hey Al, sorry, I've been busy, or hey Al, what price were you thinking? Like he's gonna give you some sort of response. Okay. If the guy has no interest in selling, he's just gonna continue to ghost you. But I'm telling you, look, what we do, we always have to have massive, 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 massive clarity. We got to understand where people are in their deals. And also, if they're ready to do a deal, it's our job to make the deal. If they're not ready to do a deal, it's our job to know that they're not ready to do a deal. Like where people fell in this business is where they stay in confusion, you know, or they drag things out. Like I've seen people drag deals out for months. I'm like, dude, you could have done that deal 8 months ago. What are you dragging it out for? You know, like do the contract, or I've seen people talk to people for a year and I'm like, that person ain't ever going to sell.
Right.
But they're just having conversations. Well, like, okay, let's have conversations, but like we always have to know where people are on the deals. Um, is this helpful, Al? I gotta go, man, but was this helpful?
Yeah. Some of this stuff we've talked about, and it's really
Yeah,
getting in my head, and I can actually
yeah,
see myself doing it before I do it.
yeah. So listen, this is I think the key takeaways from this call is number one is now you have a real clear understanding of the value that we're bringing to the marketplace. So like
Right.
don't ever like just don't feel you need to go into that conversation with a seller of like basically feeling like your Mother Teresa. I mean, you're doing a lot of value. You're doing a lot of good here. Okay. Now you're going to make money, but that's the United States of America. That's what we do, man. We're a capitalist country. Like we are not nonprofit. Okay. But you're bringing a lot of economic value to the marketplace. So that's key takeaway number one. Number two is we got to go quicker on these deals. And what I mean by that is if it's a deal, we got to make it a deal faster. Like we can't drag things out. Like if it's a deal and it has all the ingredients of being a deal, let's know it, let's make it happen, and let's work the deal. If it's not a deal, let's know it's not a deal fast. Okay. So if someone's ghosting you, cool, send them that text. And if you need help with the verbiage, I'll send you the verbiage. Um, and then that way we just have massive clarity. So it's like always understanding who your top people are. And then right now, Robert is your best lead. That's a deal, man. Like that is a freaking deal. So action for the day, man, get with the agent. Really, like let's really understand what the ARV is. It's really, really important. And once we know what that is, Al, I mean, we might be able to get this under contract today. I'm telling you, it sounds that crazy. Okay. But we got to know what the ARV is. Once we know what the ARV is, it's going to allow us to go in the direction that we need to go. Do we put this under contract today? Or do we set a concrete day and time for the day that you get back or whatever, so we can meet up with this guy? But we need something solid today with Robert. Okay.
Okay. Sounds good.
Because it's just, yeah. All right, brother. Let me know whenever you get the ARV back. Just shoot me a text and let me know, and then we'll go from there. Okay, man.
Okay. Thank you, Blake.
Okay, buddy. Bye.